Okay, so here we have this beautiful dark green book with this embedded border here. You can, if you look closely, you can see that it is meant to look like sort of wooden sort of staves all put together there to make this frame. And then we have this gilded bundle of grapes there in the middle. And on the spine, we've got some more gilding, and it says the title, which is Dream Life, with more bunches of grapes there. And then at the bottom, it says by Ike Marvel, which is the name of the author. It's, as we're going to see here in a moment, that's a pseudonym. But it says Ike Marvel there with some more grapes. And then we've got the same bordering structure around here with the grapes on the back. This is a pretty old, well-worn book. You can see it's got some warping there. And then it's still got some visible gilding on the top of the pages there. So you can see it shine in the light. Alright, so we're going to open it up here. It's got a book plate on the interior of the cover. Up here somebody wrote a pencil mark showing that it's the first edition. And you can see this is an old book plate that said Cogito ergo sum, I think therefore I am. And this is the title page. It says Dream Life, A Fable of the Seasons by Ike Marvel. And then down here we've got a Shakespeare quote. We are such stuff as dreams are made of, and our little life is rounded with a sleep, from Tempest. And then it was published by Charles Scribner in 1851 in New York. And you can see, just due to the age, how spotted these pages have become, and the spine is pretty worn as well. So this is the when it was entered into Congress in 1851 by Donald G. Mitchell, and that's the actual name of the author. So Ike Marvel is Donald G. Mitchell. And we'll see that too from this dedication here. So this is a dedicatory letter addressed to the author Washington Irving, or the writer of Washington Irving, and then it says, My dear sir, I do not know to whom I could more appropriately dedicate this little book than to one who has been so long my teacher, and who has seemed to be so long my friend. It is true that until 6 months ago I had never the honor of meeting with you, but there are thousands, sir, who have never seen you, who yet know you, and esteem you as fully as myself. If I have attained to any facility in the use of language, or have gained any fitness of expression in which to address my thoughts, I know not to what writer of the English language I am more indebted than to you, and if I have shown, as I have tried to show, a truthfulness of feeling that is not lighted by any counterfeit of passion, but rather by a close watchfulness of nature, and a cordial sympathy with human suffering, I know not to what man's heart that truthfulness will come home sooner than to yours. Believe me, dear sir, it is from no wish to associate my name with the names of the great that I ask your acceptance of this little token of respect. My aims are humbler than this. I would simply pay homage to the author who has wrought our language into the most exquisite forms of beauty, and to the man who has touched our hearts with the tenderness of a friend. And if I might hope that this simple mark of my admiration and of my esteem would commend me to your charity, to say nothing of your regard, it is all that I would ask. Donald G. Mitchell. So that's his dedication or dedicatory letter to Washington Irving. Here's the table of contents. We've got an introductory section, and then the section for spring, which has these different chapters here listed, and it's titled as Dreams of Boyhood. So we've got sections like Boy Religion, A New England Squire, The Country Church, A Home Scene. Then we have Dreams of Youth, Summer, and then it's got all of these additional chapters here. So the way that this book is sort of sectioned off into these different books, they all follow the span of this character's life. His name is Clarence, and it starts with him in childhood, and then his sort of youth, and then his adulthood, and then his old age, and they all follow the traditional course of the seasons. So spring, summer, autumn, and winter, representing childhood, youth, adulthood, and old age. And the book just follows, each chapter shows sort of a scene from this character's life, and you sort of live his life with him. So here's the section for spring, or Dreams of Boyhood. So this is the beginning of the life. Dreams of Boyhood Spring. The old chroniclers made the year begin in the season of frost, and they have launched us upon the current of the months, from the snowy banks of January. I love better to count time from spring to spring. It seems to me far more cheerful to reckon the year by blossoms than by blight. Bernardin de Saint Pierre, in his sweet story of Virginia, makes the bloom of the cocoa tree, or the growth of the banana, a yearly and a loved monitor of the passage of her life. How cold and cheerless in the comparison would be the icy chronology of the North. So many years have I seen the lakes locked and the foliage die. The budding and blooming of spring seem to belong properly to the opening of the months. It is the season of the quickest expansion, of the warmest blood, of the readiest growth. It is the boy age of the year. The birds sing in the chorus in the spring, just as children prattle. The brooks run full. Like the overflow of young hearts, the showers drop easily, as young tears flow, and the whole sky is as capricious as the mind of a boy. And you can see there the page is a little bit damaged, and somebody had repaired it at some point with some tape, it looks like. So here's another section from Dream of Boyhood. It is an old garret with big brown rafters, and the boards between are stained darkly with the rainstorms of 50 years. And as the sportive April shower quickens its flood, it seems as if its torrents would come dashing through the shingles upon you and upon your play. But it will not, for you know that the old roof is strong, and that it has kept you, and all that you love, for long years from the rain and from the cold. You know that the hardest storms of winter will only make a little oozing leak that trickles down the brown stains like tears. So this, most of the stories in here are pretty heavily sentimental, trying to give you this feeling of living this life with this other person, and just the sort of emotional parts of that life. So it says, sometimes upon a summer Sunday, when you are wakeful upon your seat in church with some strong-worded preacher who says things that half fright you, it occurs to you to consider how much goodness you are made of, and whether there be enough of it after all to carry you safely away from the clutch of evil. And straightway you reckon up those friendships where your heart lies. You know you are a true and honest friend to Frank, and you love your mother and your father. As for Nellie, heaven knows you could not contrive a way to love her better than you do. So that section is about the character in church hearing all of these sort of frightful things, and then thinking about his sources of comfort. And I'm just kind of going back here to see if I can find the start of the summer section. Oh, here it is. So, summer, or the dreams of youth. So this is kind of childhood or early teenagerhood, I guess. And you can see the spine is pretty damaged there. It's starting to open up a little bit. In this book, in another 30 years or so, it'll be about 200 years old, so it's a pretty old book. And there's some pencil marks on the page here from a previous owner. This section says, does a man indeed outgrow affections as his mind ripens? Do the early and tender sympathies become a part of his intellectual perceptions, to be appreciated and reasoned upon as one reasons upon truths of science? Is their vitality necessarily young? Is there the same ripe, joyous burst of the heart at the recollection of later friendships which belong to those of boyhood? And are not the later ones more suggestions of judgment and less the... I missed the rest of that. And then this is a letter from Clarence's mother writing back to him. You can see there are some pencil marks here where somebody underlined portions of this. This is during when Clarence goes out into the world, which is why it's called First Look at the World there at the top. And so his mother is writing him. Here's another section that was marked by a previous owner. It says, the brusque world, too, is to be met with all its hurry and promptitude. Manhood in our swift American world is measured too much by forgetfulness of all the sweet liens which tie the heart to the home of its first attachments. We deaden the glow that nature has kindled, lest it may lighten our hearts into an enchanting flame of weakness. We have not learned to make that flame the beacon of our purposes and the warmer of our strength. We are men too early. Saying that it's too common for, in adulthood, the things that we love as children to be sort of pushed aside, thinking that they make us weak when really they're a source of strength. And here's a section for autumn. So this is now going into the adulthood of the character. And there's all sorts of, here's the section for winter. So this is now going into old age. And this book deals with the different relationships that the character has in his life, with all these different characters, and different life events. And so we're getting pretty close to the end here. The last chapter is the end of dreams. And there's the end. Alright. This is Dream Life, A Fable of the Seasons, by Ike Marvel. If you like that, leave us a like or a comment, or consider subscribing, and thanks so much for watching. Okay. Alright, bye.